Welcome to the Settle Your Side Hustle podcast. I started this podcast for one very simple reason, and that is to show you what it's like to actually start a business. Going from a side hustle business that I'm doing while working the 9 to 5 to being full-time in my business, living the life that I want, controlling my time, controlling my hours. And the number one problem that I had with every podcast I listen to on the market is that either A, they don't actually get down to the nitty-gritty. They're not transparent with you, telling you about their actual struggles, or B, they've already made it so there aren't struggles to share. And that's why I decided to start this podcast right here, right now, as I've just transitioned into full-time entrepreneurship, so I can actually share with you the struggles as I go through them, and you can learn from my experiences while you're growing your business alongside me. Now, let's get into the show. What is up, side hustlers, entrepreneurs, business builders, and dream makers? Welcome to the Settle Your Side Hustle podcast, episode 16. Happy Monday. So excited to be back in you guys' earbuds once again after the long hiatus that we took over the weekend. And you know what? I had a pretty good weekend, honestly. I took I put a lot of time into the car over the weekend. I replaced two reel hubs, and that was pretty good. And then was working on the engine again, got a spark plug stuck, so working on that right now. But yeah, pretty good weekend. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something that I would consider to be business superpowers. What are things that you are really exceptionally uniquely good at? And for me personally, I'm going to give an example of a superpower that I have that I've kind of learned very recently that I have. And one of the ways that I learn them is when I'm doing consulting or coaching, and I give advice on how I do something. And then I realize that the people that I give that advice to are not actually able to replicate it. And if they're not able to replicate it, then that's evidence that either I haven't explained what to do in a clear and coherent way, or it's actually not that simple. It's not that easy to do. And I think I have enough data at this point to say that I know one superpower I never realized I had until today. To be clear, I would argue that it is your business superpower, one of your personal superpowers, if you are better than maybe 99% of people at it. Like, you don't need to be the literal best in the world, but you need to be better than virtually everybody who you would run across in normal settings. So if you're better than 99% of people at it, you might be able to consider it something that you have a superpower in. So one of the reasons that I thought it'd be cool if I share my superpower with you is that not only do you get a better understanding of what I mean by a business superpower, but it might actually be able to help you when you're trying to create content for your business, because that's kind of where my superpower lies. One of the things that I notice over and over again when I'm teaching organic marketing strategies, because, when I'm on the fractional CMO front, or when I'm doing the done for you services front, what I do is I help create content. And then when I'm on the coaching consulting side for the zero to launch or enter the market kind of businesses, then what I end up doing is a lot more of just me giving the advice of how to create content and kind of walking people through that journey. When I'm doing it for people or doing it with them, it looks very different than when I'm just coaching and consulting. So one of the things that I've realized is one of my personal superpowers is coming up with concepts for content, figuring out what I should be writing or creating. So one of the pieces of advice that I just give kind of to any of my coaching clients that I'll just share with you guys right now is when we're doing organic social media marketing on most platforms, the average that you should be looking for is 3 posts a day on most social media platforms. You kind of can't overdo them. You really can't overdo Twitter, but you want to kind of shoot for, if you're doing 3 a day, you're in a pretty good shape. I personally do 3 a day every weekday. I skip the weekends. That's not smart strategic marketing. That's actually detrimental to my business. It's just me knowing where the hard lines are and when I'm in business versus when I'm not. But I would say 3 a day. And then I always tell people that you want to put them in one of 3 camps. You can generally say that there's 3 major buckets for content. You can say this is a value post, something that has no ask of your audience. It's just simply something that is actually truly valuable for your audience. Then you have your call to action posts. These are the ones that directly ask people to do something. Maybe it's join a Facebook group. Maybe it's buy a $27 product. Maybe it's hop on a Zoom call, whatever it is. These posts tend to look like value posts, and then they have call to actions at the end, or maybe they're just blunt call to action posts, but they're different because they actually have an intended goal that is different than just giving value. For example, everything I do in this podcast is actually a call to action post. You would think that it's just a value post because I spend the majority of the podcast just giving value, but at the end of every single episode, I have a call to action. Whether that's to join my 14-day Side Hustle Challenge, or whether that's to take my free list of 50 proven side hustles and join my Facebook group, I always have a call to action at the end of every episode. So these podcast episodes actually live in this call to action space. Then when I go and I pull shorts out of them, those shorts are always living in the value space because the shorts don't include the call to actions. So we have call to actions, we have value. We have value, we have call to action, and then we have one last post section on social media, and that's what I call the slice of life posts. These are what everybody who's not a business owner uses social media for, and they always get the most engagement, the most interactions from your audience. The reason we use this is twofold. One is that it helps your audience to learn to know and like and trust you. They learn who you are as an actual individual. That's very valuable. And then the second reason is because it spikes that engagement. And when people engage with your content, every social media algorithm then tries to show them more of your content. So these spike engagement and then they spike views across all the other types of posts. Those are our three big buckets. I learned where my superpower is by over the last month or two, sharing with a lot of people about how you make value posts every single day. And what I contend is that it's actually quite simple. You just need to learn how to ask yourself two questions and actually earnestly answer those two questions. Because one thing that we know about the human mind is that it's really good at answering the questions that you ask it. So when you ask bad questions, you get bad answers. When you ask things like, why am I so out of shape? You get the answers of because you're lazy and you don't do anything. But when you ask yourself, what do I need to do to get in shape? You'll get the answers of, I need to go to the gym, I need to diet, I need to walk more, right? So you get the answers you get are matched to the questions you ask. When you ask better questions, you get better answers. So I have two simple questions that I ask myself when I'm trying to create value-based content for my audience. The first question is quite simple. In the last 24 hours, what is something small, mundane, or trivial that I've done? That's question number one. Question number two then follows question number one, and it says, what lesson can I take from this that would be valuable to my audience? Let me give you an example. I came up with this example while on a call with somebody today, and it blew his mind, and he said, do you want to write that down? And I said, no, because making content is just that easy. I said, let me give you an example. Question number one, what is something mundane, small, or trivial that I've done in the last 24 hours? Well, this morning, I actually had to go to a parts store to return a tool that I had rented. Okay, that's something mundane, trivial that I did very recently. Did that this morning. Is that something worth talking about? Probably not. But then I go to question number two. Question number two, what is a valuable lesson I could take from this for my audience? Well, actually, when I think about it, this is really interesting because this parts store, and I'm not going to include their name, but this parts store, they don't actually charge you to rent their tools. What they do is they put a hold on your account for however much the tool is worth. And then if you don't return it, they keep the money. So the option is you return it, you get all of your money back, or you buy the tool. If you never return it, it's totally okay. It just means you purchased the tool. So your options are to return it and have rented it for free, or to purchase the tool. Now, frankly, I understand that this parts store is doing this for a very specific reason. They want to give you reasons to like them and to keep interacting with them and go into their store as many times as possible. That's all great. But I think about that and I think about how I'd apply that to my business. And I think if it were my business, while yes, I want to present the highest possible customer value that I can, I also want to find a way to convince them that they should keep that part. If my options are a sale or not having the tool to do the sale for the duration of time that they rent it and making no money over that, while I understand that that's a phenomenal customer experience and that's amazing as well, I also look at that and I say, you know what? That's actually not a way that I'm making money. It's a way that I'm building brand loyalty. So when I apply that to my business, I think I do something very similar, where when I start working with a client, I give them a 30-day money back, no question asked guarantee. So you have 30 days, you can get a full refund. I'll never ask any questions. Then I do everything in my power to make sure by the end of the 30 days, they don't want their money back. I do everything in my power to convince them that between your two options of having gotten this experience for 30 days, it's beneficial to you for free, and of me keeping the money, I want you to pick that second option. I want to make that irresistible. So, you rented the tool. I want to do everything in my power to convince you to keep the tool. And I'm going to do that with amazing customer experience. I'm going to do that with amazing customer value. I'm going to do that by doing exactly what I promised. I'm going to do that by knowing that at the end of 30 days, I have more to give still. And you don't get that if you don't, if you ask for your money back. So all of this is now content that I can create about the value of money back guarantees, the value of customer retention, the value of customer experience. All of that comes from, well, yeah, I had to return a tool this morning. And I share this with the person who's on the call, and he's like mind blown. He goes, "Do you want to write that down?" And I'm like, "No, not really." Like, because one, I know that I said it and I remember it now. But two, it is that easy to make content when you follow this strategy. And it's just two simple questions. But what I've realized is that a lot of people can't answer those questions even when they ask them. So maybe I am special, maybe. But I shared it with you for two reasons. One is that now you understand what I mean when I say find your superpower. Find what you're so good at that nobody else that you talk to can do it as well as you do. And so that's your superpower, and you want to drive into that and use it as much as you can in your business. When I do done for you marketing that's based on organic content, the fact that I can do what I just did is why I'm helpful to so many companies and so many individuals, right? It's also what makes me so valuable as a coach or a consultant, because I can dig deep and we can come up with these things quickly, right? And then the second reason is because those two questions are how I do it. And I'd like you to be able to take those two questions, get value out of them, and implement it in your own content strategy. So my challenge to you is to start marketing organically by posting at least 3 times a day on at least one social media platform, and make sure you hit all 3 of those buckets. You have the value posts, you have the call to action posts, and you have the slice of life posts. And use those 2 questions to come up with your value posts. And I'm going to invite you to go ahead and join the Facebook group. When you click on the link below, it's going to give you some free gifts, and it's going to redirect you to the Facebook group. Inside this free Facebook group, I do a free training every single Monday on how to build your business from zero. We just hit over 900 members in the group, so we're growing every single day. I want you to be a part of the community so you can grow in your business as well. That's all I got for you. I love you so much. I'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless.